Naked Shamanism. Welcome to With Insights Radio. I'm your host, Iggy Garcia. I will take you on a journey across the universe through shamanism, metaphysical, and holistic. So sit back and relax and enjoy the show. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Iggy Garcia Live, episode 87. This is preventative measures. This is the topic of my show today. So hopefully you can stick around for a little bit and kind of just share your thoughts about what's going on. I kind of waited today. I know I usually do my shows either on a Thursday or Friday or Saturday, depending how I feel. But I kind of waited a little bit today and meditated a little bit. Here, I touched my face. Look at that. Oh my God. Anyhow, but yeah, sorry about that. I just gotta find some humor in all this. Anyhow, I waited a little bit today. I'm all itchy all of a sudden. So I waited today, let me get to this, to kind of think about what I was going to talk about today on my show, because so much has happened just in the last, I don't know, 12 to 24 hours. I mean, a lot's been happening since then, but a lot has definitely been going on since this news has broken out about the coronavirus and all this. And but before we start our show, like every show we do, we're gonna do a little bit of a ceremony. We're gonna give thanks to our ancestors. We're gonna light a candle for the people who have been in our lives, people who are in our lives, people we miss in our lives, people who are important to us, the people who helped us, mold us, get us to the place we are. Burn a little sage, honoring them. You can use sage, palo santo, any kind of saging modality you use. I like a little bit of different things. I thank my mom for giving me life today. Her mother gave birth to her. Today is her birthday. My mom's birthday's today. So I want to remember my mom. Say happy birthday, Mom, wherever you're at. I know you're having a good time. Probably laughing at us here on Earth, doing the stupid things we're doing right now, and feeling how we're doing. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Hopefully you can stick around a little bit. I know it's a work day, but some of you will be working from home. And some of you may not go to work tomorrow. I have not watched the news since earlier today. But I do know this thing, that there's been a lot of movement, a lot of action, a lot of stuff been going on. There is a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of confusion. There's a whole bunch of stuff just happening. So I brought a special guest today to help me out through this process. Hello. This is Yoda. Y'all know Yoda. Very smart, very intelligent person. Or actually not a person. I don't know what kind of species you are. What are you? I don't know. Funny you are, Iggy. Funny you are. Anyhow, Yoda, you know, inspiration. There's people who wrote that, you know, his all his words. They were actual people inspired by universal energy, universal consciousness. So I try to find the humor in all this stuff that's going on, because you can either be in three different camps, okay? You can be in the camp of, it's just bullshit. Or you can be in the camp that, oh my God, this is terrible. Or you can be in the camp that you're indifferent. You don't really care. You're just kind of in the middle. You're like, yeah, it's real. Yeah, I'm going to buy some toilet paper. Yeah, I'm going to buy some cans of tuna. I'm kind of in the middle. I'm kind of one of those persons. Yeah, I'll buy it just in case. Preventative measures. You know, just never know. You got to be prepared, right? It's like be ready versus not be ready. Not to be add to the panic and the hysteria and everything. But I know some people take it way overboard and they go way far. But you know what? That's their preventative measure. That's their emotion. That's their feeling. And as long as they're not doing harm to anybody, I think they have the right to have that preventative measure in their life. If they feel that they need 30 cases of, you know, corn and 10 cases of toilet paper, that's the preventive measure. And they can afford it, and they can have it, yeah, that's fine. I have no problem with that. Now, I have friends who don't do anything and, you know, just kind of riding the wave, and it's going to play out how it plays out. I don't really know how it's all going to play out. All I know is that, number one, they canceled futsal season. They canceled NBA season. Schools have actually shut down for 3 weeks. Colleges have actually shut down the lecture halls and stuff, and they're actually doing everything online. So there must be some sense of seriousness to this, because why would they do that? And, you know, how do you do this without creating fear in people? How does that work? How can you like circumvent and not say, you know, the word fear in this context? Well, I'm going to tell you something. A good friend of mine said use the word preventative measures. So I'm going, okay, preventative measure works. But you know, the thing about it is this. You know, fear is fear. You call it what it is. It's a fearful situation right now for a lot of people. Elderly, young children, newborn babies. People are taking it pretty serious. Not that they wouldn't have, but I think people have the right to take it serious. People have the right to express their feelings and emotions. I think as long as we're respectful to one another and each other about the situation, then it can work. But the bad part about it, I've also seen some information where people have treated other people wrong. A lot of Asian people have been attacked in certain cities, and people tell them to wear masks and stuff. This is true. This is documented. So I'm not making this up. This isn't me trying to create mass hysteria. No, this is true stuff. There's a segment of our population who's very fearful, and they're very scared, and they want to blame somebody. They want somebody to blame, somebody to go, hey, it's your fault, it's your responsibility. My friend Kate is probably on here, and I don't know if she is willing to come on here and join me. I don't know if I can put her on here, but we've been having kind of like backdoor discussion about all this stuff that's going on, because there's some really interesting factors about it. She's had visions, I've had visions, and other people have had visions about today, about things, how it happened. If you watch my last show about, you know, where I acted out the worst case scenario, what would happen, just because it possibly could, that was March 6th, I believe, and I believe that was when a lot of people have been having a lot of downloads. Now, stick with me here. Don't get too tripped out and too weirded out with me, you know, because, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, people are kind of weirded out by it. So let me see. I'm not sure I'm not gonna do it on my phone, but I'm not sure how to do it here. Let's see. Anyhow, I'll figure it out here in a second. But I guess what I'm trying to say is this: we're in a very awakening time. We're in this place where we have come to a threshold in our lives where we have to make decisions about ourselves, about the people around us, the people we love. We have some very serious questions to ask ourselves. You know, who do we save if there is something very serious? You know, what happens, you know, to us? What goes on? You know, I mean, we're in a very, 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 very powerful moment, okay, to make some very crucial decisions about how humanity wants to move forward, how we want to express the world, and how we want the world to be seen, and how we want the world to flow. Because right now, it's really, it's a lot crazier than you think, okay? Some of us sit home and going, oh, yeah, whatever, you know. There's a bunch of wackos, and, well, no, your next neighbor's a wacko then, you know. Your next door neighbor is crazy, you know. But it's happening, folks. I'm not here to scare you. I'm not here to inflict more than needs to be inflicted about what's happening. But right now, what's happening is a lot of people are really concerned about what's going on outside, because a lot of people don't believe that we're being told the truth. A lot of people don't believe that we're actually being handed the information maybe the way we should. But maybe our government, maybe the doctors, maybe they don't want to scare us. Maybe they really don't want us to know what's really happening. Maybe they don't really know what's happening. Maybe they don't know how to address this, because, you know, man is so arrogant and thinks that it's so intelligent and thinks that it's so powerful, and it thinks that it's the supreme existence on this planet. And here comes along as a little microscopic virus. This little creature comes by and totally wipes out people. So who's the higher intelligence? I don't know. What is intelligence? Just because you can create spaceships to go to outer space, does that constitute intelligence? I mean, here's the thing, you know, Mother Nature, according to my chief, Landis, told me, he goes, Jonathan Landis, he's like, nature picks no favorites. Mother Nature, when she does her cleansing, when she does her work, she doesn't discriminate. If you're in the way of a tornado, you're in the way of a tornado. You know, you get affected. If there's a hurricane, if there's a windstorm, or anything happens, and you're in the way, you're in the way. It's because we are also a microscopic version of these viruses to the earth. We are also part, and we also contribute to the shit that's happening here. Excuse my language, and excuse me for being frank like this, but we are a lot of the reasons why a lot of this stuff happens, because we do some really stupid things as human beings. We do some things and we totally discard other people. We discard Mother Nature. We discard just the fabric of life. You know, we build on top of things. We tear down trees. We don't rebuild. We just totally wipe things out. We totally just go in and just, all in the name of money and progress and, you know, us being more. There's 8 billion people on Earth now. That's a lot of people. You know, that's a lot. And not to take away from everything, but when you start to use, if you do the numbers, really the coronavirus isn't really going to do anything except maybe do away with some people. And of course, that's what's happening. The scary part is like the lotto. We don't know if it's going to be us or if it's going to be somebody we know. That's the scary part. And I think that's why people get really afraid. And that's why people are really nervous, because it could be one of us who gets affected, who just carries it, and be one of us who gets really sick. You know, so those are some really serious issues for some people. And so these preventative measures, you know, and we're doing it. Doctors, I want to say that we want to trust doctors, and we want to trust the people who are above us, who are really smart and know all this stuff. But there's also a part of us that's like, man, I hope they know what they're doing, and I hope they find a cure, and I hope they find this. You know, and I don't know what's happening behind closed doors, but it's really quiet. You know, it's really, really quiet of late. You know, there's really, how do we have discussion about this without pissing off the other person about their belief system and how they feel about this? For some of you, this is some really serious stuff. Some of you really believe that this stuff is really, really serious. And I totally agree with you. And I'm going to say this, there's some seriousness to this. There's some things that have happened that have never happened in my personal lifetime, where they've closed down schools, they've closed down sporting events, whole seasons, concerts. I mean, my drum circle was canceled, you know, due to the fact that people were getting too close. 6 inches apart, you know. Somebody might get sick. Oh, damn, man, I don't know. I don't want to live in a bubble, and I don't want to live in fear, but where is the line? Where do we say, hey, you know, this is maybe too much? But here's the thing. The powers that be know and understand that this thing spreads. Okay? So, according to, I'm a big sports fan. Okay? So, the NBA season got canceled indefinitely. But last night, they didn't play a game because one player, he tested positive. Okay? Well, the next day, which is today, another player tested positive too. And he had been talking to other players, distributing, playing the ball, shooting around. So, I think that's where the fear is, that we don't know how fast and how quickly this is transmitted, and how quickly and who it affects. You know, it's almost like a weird sci-fi movie that we're living in, that we're actually taking part of now. Okay, if you really think about it, now we're in this weird scenario that anything can happen. You know, people have been sending me all kinds of stuff, and I haven't posted a lot of it because a lot of this stuff I don't have any way to verify if it's real or not. Okay, people have sent me things where in China, it looks like in China they're like shooting people and stuff who have the virus. You know, there's just some things you don't want to post because it could be a scene from a movie they're filming. You know, you don't know. There's no way to validate some of the stuff that's coming through. Part of me wants to trust the process. Part of me wants to trust the process that these folks who are super brainiac-y, intelligent, you know, whatever, know what they're talking about. And then there's another part of me is like, man, I want to survive too. So I'm going to go buy some toilet paper. Nothing, I don't know why. I mean, I'll get into that in a minute. But cans of food, I get cans of food and dry products and stuff because they last and they're on the shelf. You can store it for a while. But someone asked me about toilet paper. And I'm thinking to myself, the reason people are buying toilet paper, it's not only to wipe your ass. Okay. The reason people buy toilet paper too is because you can clean with it. One of the reasons with toilet paper is you can actually use toilet paper to filter and create a filtering system with toilet paper and toilet rolls. This has been confirmed by me, some friend of mine. But also, you can start little fires with toilet paper if the grid went down. You may not have firewood, you may not have access, and maybe raining, it could be, so you can actually create as a starter with toilet paper. Okay, so you got to really use your imagination why people would want to use this. There's so many of us who are just like, you know, I even made a freaking meme with a big roll of toilet paper because in the restaurant we had those, and I just happened to have some just because I've always had them, so it's nothing new. They last longer. But, you know, it was just one of those things, you know, you want to laugh a little bit about this stuff too, because you know what? We can take it so serious. And I think also that some things just can't survive in an environment which is laughing and happy and you know, not toxic. You know, it's easy to get down and depressed and sick, and then our immune system drops, and then we're all like bummed out because this is happening. And then we can be susceptible to getting sick and being, you know, infected by things. What's going to happen? I don't know. You know, I really don't know what's going to happen. The thing I do know is this. Some people are ready. And I don't know even if you're ready, if it's as dangerous as they're saying, I don't know if it matters if you're ready. But, you know, I had a vision about this back in 2011, you know, where I was in the restaurant working one night and I was coughing really hard. And then all of a sudden I just like blacked out and I fell down and I hit my head against the dartboard. And I remember traveling to this place. I traveled to this for hours. I was gone in my head. And I was around these 7 beings. They were white, like their appearance was white, but they had this like dark robes on. But they were like white, I'm gonna use the word alienish, you know, they were like alien, like some kind of spiritual creatures. And they showed me the earth cracking and volcanoes and hurricanes and stuff. Then they showed me like these things that like people were getting sick and all kinds of stuff. I didn't know back then what it was. And then they showed me, which was I really didn't want to see, was troop movement, like war, like jockeying for like land and jockeying for, you know, petroleum. Who knows what it was? I couldn't really tell, but now it all makes sense. And then I remember them like putting their hands over me, like almost like they were sharing something with me. And I can't quite, it hasn't quite unlocked yet. And I think it's starting to unlock now as I'm going through this process with everybody. And then I remember coming back, and my friend David Two Crows, some of you guys know David Two Crows, we were in the restaurant, he was holding me, and he's calling my name, Iggy, 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 come back. And I could hear his voice in the background, and I started to like move towards his voice. And I'm like, David, man, how long have I been out? I feel like I've been gone for days. And he goes, you've only been gone for like maybe 30 seconds at most. And we were going to call the squad, but you woke up. So I tell you, it was the trippiest thing. I've had other experiences like this, but this one was really deep. It was really, I actually journaled it. I actually shared it with a few people today online. I shared it and I sent pictures to them, and to show them, because it was really very powerful for me. It was like it was deep. It was something real deep, because a friend of mine reminded me. He goes, remember those meditations and those prophecies you had? And we used to have prophecy circles where we'd sit around the fire and we'd see prophetic things in the fire. The only reason I haven't done those for a long time is because never seemed to pull anything positive out of it, you know? It always seems like it was a disruption, like a chaotic thing was going to happen in order to like waken us up, to get us all awakened. I'm going to have my little swig of coffee with my little Panda cup. A little timeout. So it was just, so that's why I kind of stopped doing those meditations, because they were taking me into places where I was seeing things that just weren't fun, and they weren't beautiful. And I tried to see the beautiful thing. I wanted to see a place where things were better. But I know out of the chaos and out of the fear and all the destruction of what we create comes the stuff, comes the good stuff. It has to. We can't stay in the chaotic forever. It just won't. It doesn't do that. And so basically what I'm saying today is, you know, some of you have had some amazing stories you share, and and some of you deep down in your heart, I know you're feeling something. You're feeling something about this whole situation, and you're afraid to share. I ask you to share. I ask you, feel your emotions, feel what you're feeling. If you get beat up by people about it, it's because they're just fearful too, and they have their feelings and emotions. But remember, it's your timeline. It's your post. It's your place to share your feelings and emotions. It's not your post to get validation from somebody to say, oh, look at me. No, you're speaking what's on your mind, because this is what we do on social media. We share our mind, and the people who comment sometimes comment because they think they're entitled to comment on your comment. And yes, they probably are, because you've left the options for that. But that doesn't mean that they own or debunk or discount your post. So post away. Post. If you feel it's fearful, then it's fearful, you know. If you feel like we're stupid, then post is stupid. You should never not express how you feel about what's going on. This is a type of grieving. This is a type of loss. There's a lot going on right now in this process of dysfunction junction, you know. There's a lot happening here. There's a lot of change, rapid change, you know. Most of us washed our hands, but now it's like an encouragement thing. It's like we wash our hands. It's almost like we stepped into like a Twilight Zone movie. Now all of a sudden, what we didn't do before, we have to do today. But now there's like this whole new, we don't even know if this is even real. You know, I'm not saying that people didn't die. I'm not saying that, but it makes you kind of wonder sometimes if you're part of a bad joke. You know, sometimes I'm thinking they're going, is this real? Is this really happening? Is there a pandemic, really? I mean, they use the word pandemic. You don't just throw words around and expect people to go, oh, shit, pandemic. That's a pretty nasty word. Hell yes, it is. Pandemic is a very powerful word. And then they try to write off, well, it doesn't really mean that. We just want to be, you know. Come on, dude. You're trying to create and you're trying to instill fear in people. You're trying to create. It's fear. I'm going to call it what it is. It's fear. Did you have to call it a pandemic? No. I mean, you didn't, but you did. You know, there's a lot of things they said. And, you know, they're trying to avoid it. People try to censor me online. You know, and I'm going, you know, on the record, I'm just letting you know, this is what they told me. But I will change something according so I don't freak everybody out. But it's like, there was a time where your freedom of speech, your freedom of expression was not challenged. I was talking to my friend, Kate. We had a conversation. We talked about how does this affect our constitutional rights? How does our constitutional rights, how are they affected in this time, in this moment? What are we allowed to do? What won't we be allowed to do? Are they going to instill martial law? What's going to happen? What if they do happen? Some people will be okay with that. Some people are like, oh yeah, well, we need that because, we don't want somebody stealing my TV. But anyhow, we really have to think about these things. We're going to be giving up our rights, maybe, to some degree. Has that already happened? We just don't know it. Is it very subtle? It's not going to end tomorrow. I'm going to tell you that right now. So really need to gear yourselves and get ready for that whatever you think this is not going to go away in the next 30 days. They have a projection of 30 days, I've noticed. Everything's a 30-day outcast, forecast of what's, travel ban, 30-day travel ban. 30-day this, 30-day that, okay? So we're working the powers of 3. 3 weeks, no school. So, I watched a guy's post today, and I thought it was pretty interesting. He talked about how he has a friend who's not on social media at all, 0, but he's on social media. So he asked his friend, he goes, hey, did you notice anything weird? He goes, yeah, I feel like there was an energy shift. And this is the other guy who's not on social media. And for reasons I don't know. And he goes about him, and then the guy on social media goes, so when do you think that happened? He goes, I think around March 6th, roughly around March 6th. And he goes, yeah, me too. He goes, I just felt like this download came. It's almost like they don't want us to get this download from, because they talked about these white beings. And, I remember I told you I saw all these white beings too, okay? And when I heard that, I was like, holy crap, man, what's going on? And it sounds kind of science fiction-y. Yeah, it does. So this guy who's not on social media is talking about him feeling the energy shift and the change in the environment, change in just in people, and then he feeling the download. And so I thought it was really interesting when I heard that, and I thought it was really, and that's what spurred me to open my journals, because I knew I had that story about my visions about today and other things that have happened along the way. And when I opened that up, I'm going, man, these are these 7 tall white beings that I saw too. It has to be the same group of intelligent creatures or whatever they are, or interdimensional creatures, who knows what they were. And so for me, it was like really fascinating. I was really like engulfed and stuck in that. Is it or isn't it? I don't know. But something's going on. His point was that this mass hysteria that they've created is in order to block our receptors to receive the downloads that are coming from these specific light beings or energies or whatever. And so basically what you do is they create this mask of sorts, and they throw you a candy over here, and you're like eating this candy, and you miss the bus that you needed to pick up the information from. So basically, intelligent beings are coming. So I was telling my friend today, I was telling her, I go, you know what? I feel like the word invasion is just like busting in my head. Like all I can feel is invasion. I hear invasion, like just rolling around my head. I'm going, is that I don't even want to use the virus invasion, of the coronavirus? Or is it a invasion of other sorts? For a slight moment, I mean, I really got freaking paranoid. Like, is it alien invasion? Is something happening? I don't want to go into those realms too much, because, people start to think you're kind of weird or crazy. And that's okay. I'm already weird and crazy anyhow, but the weird thing is, I don't know if you ever saw The Fifth Wave. It's a movie about how basic aliens take over the planet, because there's not enough aliens to take over the planet, but they're very intelligent, and they know how to manipulate and disrupt and disturb. And so basically they bring on these natural catastrophes, and then they bring on pandemics, and then little by little they go through all these waves, and then they use us to hunt us without even knowing us, by programming our brains with these visuals. But anyhow, get away from the story of movie stories, but makes you wonder. I don't know. I'm not sure. Now, we know that there's obviously something going on. There's obviously an issue. Because they're telling us there's a problem. Prepare, get ready. Don't panic, though. You don't need to go to the store and buy everything up. But just be prepared, be ready, because you never know. Take care of your elderly, take care of your children, take care of everybody who's vulnerable and everybody who has weak immune systems. And so I'm thinking to myself, that's interesting. Has Mother Nature, maybe through the help of us, let me go back one step. Mother Nature has a way to right herself, correct the ship, per se, when things are out of alignment, when things aren't correct. I'm not too concerned about her well-being because she knows what she needs to do. The problem is, it screws us. That's okay, because, we have our chances to get things right. Here's what I'm thinking. Remember the Ice Age? Remember that? We were all around, right? Remnants of the Ice Age talk about 2 miles of ice covering parts of North America, per se. And pushing down. There's so much ice that it pushed down and changed the shapes of some of the lands and created glaciers and stuff. Did you ever wonder why there was an Ice Age? Did it ever cross your mind why things went a certain way, why things went a little wacky? Is it possible that Mother Earth knows how to calibrate herself and correct her ship? And if something is out of balance with her system and affects the system, that somehow she knows how to correct that? Say there was something totally wrong, something was just out of balance, and, the waters changed, and, everything got cooler, and, volcano, who knows? But then the Ice Age came. It was a long time. And now the polar ice caps are melting, right? So there's all kinds of things frozen in time in these polar ice caps. Is it possible now that these things have been released? That these things are now in our environment? These things now have moved into a space and time where now Mother Earth is using them to correct herself again? Yeah, we help the process in some ways through global warming. I get that, which becomes global cooling too. There is a two-step, there's a heat and there's a cold factor to this too. If you do your research, you know what I'm talking about. Those of you who know about global warming, it's not all just about pure heat. It's almost like a terraforming of sorts. But, so she has a way to recalibrate her system. She has a way, she's a living being. She's like you and me. We're a planet Earth. Inside of us we have multitude of things happening to us. On our skin, in our blood, in our intricate system, in our organs. There's so much happening. If we had to think about it, we'd go nuts. Our super subconscious works on that, takes care of that for us, so we can move into the directions we need to move. But we're no different than Mother Earth, because we come from Mother Earth. We're dirt. When we die, when our bodies break down and decay, it's dirt, it's dust. Or even our bones won't last. They're one of the final things to break down, but they do break down. Ashes, ashes, dust to dust, man. We're part of this incarnation. We're created from that. We're that clay. If you don't believe in God or anything, believe this. You're part of something that's living, something that's very unique, very special, something that moves through you. The fungus inside our body, the viruses, and all the things inside of us comes from this planet. It comes from the ground, comes from Mother Earth. We're not exempt. None of us are exempt from that. Every chemical, every pill, every poison, everything comes from Mother Earth. It doesn't come from outer space. It doesn't come from some planet in a far distant region. It comes from here. My sambucas, which is the elderberry, my candle here, my sage, my Yoda, It all comes from the earth. The virus comes from the earth. As far as I know, I don't think it's alien. You know, what man has learned to do is take the creation that's already here and remanifest it and create alchemy. You know, man is a very good alchemist, and woman. When I say man, I mean man and woman. That's the general notion here. But we're very powerful alchemists. Humans are. We like to create because we were created. We are spawned from something that made us. So alchemy is part of our medicine, part of who we are. We sew, we dance, we sing. What happens with alchemy? Well, think about it. We're all alchemists in some way or another. If you sing a song, it either brings tears of joy, happiness, sadness. It moves the chemical components in your body. It creates a rhythm in your body. Okay, so think about this. Think about this really good. We're all alchemists. We say beautiful words to people. Then it brings out the beauty in them. We create energy. We move that energy. When we're nasty and mean, it also creates some really bad residual. Okay, so alchemy is very powerful medicine. You are all alchemists. All of us. We're all bring to this planet our medicine, our stories, our feelings, our emotions about who we feel we are and how we fit in the whole gamut of things and how we are connected with one another. The illusion is we're all connected. There is no illusion. The illusion is that we're separate. You know, the illusion is that I'm not connected to Ashley, Tani, Marie, Liz, Emily, Mike, Jerry, Cecilia, you know, my cousin here, you know, and Kate and everybody who's watching. The illusion is that we're all individuals, or we're all separate. We're all live our own world. We choose to do that, yeah. But you know what? We all come from the same source. We all come from the Great Spirit. We come from God. We come from the universe. We come from the planet. We definitely come from this dirt. We definitely come from this planet. If you believe in evolution and you're an evolutionist, then you know that we come from the soil. We come from the water. We come from that single-celled organism that just evolved over time. If that's what you believe, then that is a grand scheme. And then your Mother Earth is your creator. You cannot discount that she created you. You can't go and tell me that you're an atheist and you don't believe in anything. Well, you know what, atheist? I'm here to tell you that Mother Earth made you, okay? So get over it. All right, so you do have a creator. Your creator is Mother Earth. She made you through time and through pressure cooking and making, and she will reclaim you and take you back. If you don't believe in anything outside of that, that's fine. But I'm gonna tell you one thing. Believe this: Mother Earth made us all. If you don't believe in God and you don't believe in anything else, Mother Earth made you. And you prove to me that she didn't make you. Okay? Unless you're from another freaking planet and you came here and you were dropped off, Mother Earth made you. Okay? Not one person has ever been able to prove to me that they come from another place and from another planet. You may have links and connections or whatever, but I come from the mountains of Peru. I come from the mountains of the Sierra Nevadas. I come from everything because it's all connected. It's all one. Oh, I come from Italy, you know, my heritage. I come from the world, man. I come from the planet because it all was Pangea once. You know, it was all one little ball, cluster of ball. We're all children of the earth. And that's why we can feel the earth. We can feel her hum. We can feel her anger. We can feel her frustration because we're connected to her. Even the ones who discount and they call it woo-woo, whatever, you know. It's not woo-woo, man. It's true, you know. You are of Mother Earth, you know. And if you believe that you go back to her, then you go back to her. And if you believe you go to heaven, you go to heaven. You believe whatever you create in your mind. You go wherever you want to go. Here's the things people understand. We're creating species. So we like to create stories. We like to create feelings, emotions. We like to be connected to other people. We like to continue our legacies so it's not forgotten. Why do you think we tell stories and carry on stories and share a story? Why do we make movies? Why do we write books? Why do we journal? Why do we do? Because we're human beings and we don't want to be forgotten. We don't want our story to be ignored and wiped out. You know, the cool thing about it is, on this planet, this is what we look like. On other planets, we may not look like this. The incarnation of species may look completely different. They may be elemental, where they're like energy. They may be microscopic, where they look like us and act like us and do stuff, and they live. There's so much going on just in my basement, my God. You know, there's so much going on in the world outside of me through the insects and the birds and the animals and how they live. We're so disconnected from all that. Now, some of you are connected because you do your thing. You walk through the woods and you do your thing. But we're really disconnected, man. We really don't understand what happens because they throw the 3D world on us. They give us bills. They give us car payments. They give us internet. They give us Netflix. You know, and then we're desynthesized a little bit. We're disconnected from all that. Our reality becomes the reality they create for us. So this reality that they're creating for us about this virus, you know, part of it, we carry and we manifest it and create it and more. What's going to happen now with this virus? I don't know. But I'll tell you one thing. This is what I do know. The life that you knew last week or just 12 hours ago is not the same. You tell me if you're living your life the same from just an hour ago. No, you're not. Nobody's not. They made sure that our lives no longer look like the lives we used to know. We're only, what, 3 months? We're not even, no, 2 months and not even a half yet. You know, and we're already going through a lot of change and a lot of pressure and a lot of decision making. January, February, and March. We're in March and it's March 12th, my mom's birthday. We're not even the halfway point of this month yet. So a lot has happened in this short period of time. A lot. A grand awakening is happening. A grand evolution of our minds and our spirits and our soul is beginning to happen. You know, a lot of people were like, what happened to in 2012? Why didn't it happen? No, it did happen. That preparation was for today so we can move into this space. What we're happening now, we're getting ready to explore facets of ourselves that we've never explored. They want us to be locked into these little boxes called our houses, our homes, and they want us to stay isolated. Why would you isolate something? Because if you isolate it, it can't expand, it can't grow, it can't manifest. So when they canceled the drum circle, that's a way from keeping us from gathering and creating love energy and creating that energy that we needed to create. When we don't have our sporting events, for some people, that's the place where they share their feelings, their emotions, and how they live vicariously through other people playing sports, because some of them could or some of them couldn't. But when people can't gather, people get really restless and frustrated. The restlessness and the frustration is going to kick in. And that's my concern. When people start getting restless and when people need human interaction, Facebook ain't going to do it for us, friends. I'm sorry. Hanging out with your friends and doing things and going on ash caves and walks, you know, and being around the core people of your life is where life is. This is a good way to connect to people that we've met or not know and put our message out. But we can't go away from what was our tribal beginnings, where we used to sit around the fire and tell stories and share and project into the future the things that we wanted to create in the world that we wanted to see and the things that we wanted to evolve as humans. There was a time where that's what we did. That's why the drum circles are so powerful. That's why the shares that you guys create, some of you are holistic practitioners, your holistic shares are important. We are born and we die. We are born and we're already breaking down. Even though we're at the peak, some of us are at the peak of our physicality. Why do we have to stop connecting and loving one another? Because somebody says if we don't, the possibility of us contaminating others, what happens? There's a lot of stuff that goes around other than the coronavirus that, you know, the flu, the common cold, germs, you know. Some people get venereal diseases because they have unsafe sex with other people, you know. I mean, where's the line? Where's that line? Where is enough for you? Where's enough for you? I like to see for you guys post it. I know some of you have thrown hearts and agreed with me on some things. Tell me where the line is. Are we going too far with this? Shutting things down? Stopping things? Do we know enough? Do we have enough information? I remember when the H1N1, and then I remember, well, I think the swine flu is a thing, the bird flu, HIV, AIDS. I remember when all that stuff came around, then Y2K, and how the world was going to end. You know, I have not heard that the world's going to end in this particular scenario, which is kind of interesting, which you think you'd hear somebody saying, oh, it's going to end, it's going to end. But it didn't, you know, it didn't. And it's not. And what's up, Yoda? Anyhow, you know, tell me where the line is for you. How far can we go? Do we have to have total isolation from one another? Does it have to be to that point where we don't do anything together? It really makes you think. It makes me think. You know, for people who went out and bought all kinds of stuff, hey, great for you. And for people who didn't go buy anything, hey, great for you. You know, it's what you need for you. If you feel like you need 10 gallons of water, then buy it. Some of you don't have filter systems in your house. And, you know, there's no guarantee that anything, lights, water is going to be functional, because we don't have control of any of that. We don't know if the grid breaks down, goes down. We don't know anything. My concern is the sheer lack of not knowing anything is more concerning to me, because we're kind of in the dark with some of this stuff. Whatever they disseminate to us and give to us and project to us, we just kind of jump on it. Now, I just ask you to do your research, do your best you can, but here the research comes from the system that's been built for us. We hope and we're asking that the information that they're relaying to us is correct. That's my concern. That's what I want. When the CDC says something, please be correct. Please don't just hyperbole create something because we should. No, if you don't know, you don't know. I would rather you say, I don't know. I'm not sure. Let's use precautionary measures. You know, then I have more respect for you, instead of beating around the bush. There's a lot of cases here in Columbus, Ohio that have not been reported. You know, I don't know if you knew that. Some of you do, some of you don't. There's a lot of cases that aren't reported anywhere. Are they playing with the numbers? Is it real? I don't know. This is your journey as much as my journey. All of us are connected in this journey. All of us have to make some very serious decisions about this journey. All of us has to make some very, very critical moves about how we want to move forward in this journey. Because when things are shut off and when things are cut off, I don't know if you noticed your emails, you're getting a bunch of messages from the gas station, you're getting messages from the pharmacy, you're getting messages saying we're doing the best to keep our facilities clean and our employees, blah, blah, blah. How many of you guys have gotten that? I've gotten those. So there's a lot of preparation going on. My bank even, my credit card company says, well, if you're having financial and you can't pay your bills and if it gets out of hand, because, you know, honestly, some people, if they do what they say they're going to do, and they're going to like shut off some jobs and stuff, they're going to close, they're not going to ask local businesses to close temporarily. You're asking a lot of people to do some stuff. If the government asks you, well, can you close your restaurant down temporarily until we can figure out, you know, one day or a week can put somebody out of business. Not because they don't have money saved up, not because they're dependent of opening every day. They're dependent, especially a mom and pop business. They're very dependent in their community supporting them. They're very dependent that the money that they can almost I can tell you, because I used to own a restaurant. You know what you're going to make, and you know what's going to be brought in, unless you have a really good week or really good whatever. But we're asking a lot of small businesses to do certain things if it gets to that point. And they're asking people to do certain things, and I mean, some big multi-million companies, you know, billionaire companies have done the same thing. You know, you have the NBA, NHL, Major League Baseball. These are big companies with a lot of money, a lot of backing, a lot of equity, and you know, they're in the NCAA, and all these companies, all these things have shut down their programs, which affect communities, which affect a whole environment, you know, of stuff. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't have, because they're doing the right thing for the players and the people, and I get that. But there's repercussions for all this, because this is like a really fine line. You know, this is the fine line. What happens next? You know, what happens to these businesses that were really counting on this happening? You know, stock market has taken a huge hit. Huge, huge. If you want to buy stocks, this is probably a good time. Interesting thought, huh? You know, Russia's making a power play on Saudi Arabia's oil fields. I don't know what's next. I have some ideas, but I don't want to share them here, because that's not my intention about this show. This show's not about creating and instilling fear. This show is about you making the right choices for you, what's right for you and for your families, and the things that you want to see, and the way you want to move forward in this particular moment that we have in front of us. You know, I think if we stay positive and we stay vigilant and support one another and honor each other, then we can move into a better, more powerful space, versus trying to be fearful of the situation. We know the situation at hand is not conducive to a good living environment per se, but we have to take precautionary measures. We have to look at the world and say, okay, this is what we have in front of us. You know, it's kind of like playing sports or playing chess or doing whatever you do. You know, we have to be able to say, well, this is the strategy. These are the cards dealt to us. How do we deal with it? How do we move forward? I just ask that we be good to one another. Okay. On my desk, I have this little card, and it says, we heal individuals. Number 1. Number 2, healing the families. Number 3, healing communities. Number 4, healing society. Number 5, healing the planet. When we work down that list, we can't help but heal the planet. We can't help, because as we heal ourselves, we heal everything around us and the people around us, the environment around us. So that's our goal in life, is to do better, to be better. So hopefully you've gotten some ideas about which direction you're trying to move and what you're thinking about. I know this is hard for everybody, and I get that. I'm going to try to find the humor in this. And I know it may come across wrong. And I have to use discernment too when I post my things, because it can be misunderstood, and it can be very sensitive. Because we're moving into a very sensitive space right now. Okay, not that we're not trying to take it serious or not, but the potentiality of people losing their lives and potentiality of things happening is real for some people. And people have already lost their lives. Many people have, because of this thing. And you know what? Who knows what happens next? Who knows? Nobody knows. I don't think anybody even expected this to happen. You know, there's a lot of things happening right now in the world, and I think we come to the conclusion, and we have to have the understanding that we're not the dominant species on this planet. That something that we can't even see can actually take us down and totally wipe us out. if it has the chance. And it's not doing it because it's trying to be malicious or, whatever. It's just designed to survive like us. It's designed to breed, live, create, manifest, and do its thing. So this virus is doing what it naturally does, what things naturally do when they have to create and procreate and live and move on. We just happen to be in the way, Now the thing is, how do we combat this? How do we move from this? Hopefully the people who know how to deal with these type of things know how to move through that. Now, I told you guys to watch a show called The V Wars on Netflix. Kind of parallels what's happening right now in a strange way, except in that movie it's a little bit different, the way that plays out compared to ours. I don't know which one's better, the movie version or this version, but regardless, check it out, because it kind of gives it, because they have the coronavirus on there, and this is way before they show the actual picture, and it looks just like the coronavirus. The Freedom of Information Act is one of those things that you can deliver the message of whatever the government is hiding or whatever, and through any kind of form of media. Do your research. You know what I'm talking about. Some of you know what I'm talking about. So, folks, I'm just saying, just try to keep a level head. Let's just try to move forward into this existence, this new, hopefully it's not permanent, this new way of life that we're experiencing right now. We're being tested, and we're being put into a situation where we have to make some decisions for ourselves and for the people we love. And so we shared a candle today. We lit some sage. We said some prayers in our hearts. And we moved into a space where we want to do better for us. I just say that we do the best we can today with the information we have, and just be the best version of yourself tomorrow, because the version you were today is over. It's gone, even 5-10 minutes ago. Let's create a better world. What's presented in front of us. I know not everybody is a good person, not everybody's nice sometimes, but let's say hi to people. Let's be genuine to ourselves. Let's be genuine to others. If they don't say hi back to us, it doesn't matter. Don't get hung up on that. If people say hi to you, if you don't want to say hi, I guess you don't have to, but it starts with our attitude about how we're going to move into this next few months with the situation in hand. Our attitude will play a lot on how we feel and how we're going to move and how we're going to dictate, how we're going to change our environment. We have control of our environment when we allow it, when we're in that space. What we don't have control of is the things we don't know, the unseen, the unforeseen things that we have no control over. We have no control over what this virus does and how it does it. But we do have control on how we experience life and how we will be experiencing life for the next, 30 to 60 to the next year. Our lives will be ever changed because of these events that have happened, these events that are in front of us. What story are we going to write? Write, journal, tell the story about how you see the world. As of right now, the drum circle at Kobacker House has not been canceled by Ohio Health. So I encourage you to stay posted. I'll keep you posted in case something does change. As of right now, they haven't canceled anything. But if they do cancel, I'll let you know. But this drum Sunday at 2 o'clock at Kobacker House. Let's get together. Let's do that. Let's create family, community. Let's share. Let's do the best we can. Share and be with your families and love them too. Right now we need each other much more than we think. We really need that connection, that bond. And any differences that we had, we have to put them aside, because we're not guaranteed the next moment, tomorrow, next week, the click to ends the show. We're not guaranteed anything. We think that we are. We think that we're invincible, that we're we're not vulnerable, but we are. We're very vulnerable. We're very delicate. We're very fragile beings. All right, my friends. Have a great, great, great rest of the week. Stay safe. Level head. Let's move forward. Peace and love. Irisiqui. I will see you guys soon. That's the show for today. Let's go out and make this a better world. And let's just keep moving forward. Be well, my friends. Takuyasu. Ho'oponopono. It's all love.